All right, so I'm currently in my hotel room in SF, and I've done this podcast 165 times across 3 years, and it's a Sunday, and I have nobody to post right now, and I've never missed a week since I began. So I figured I'll just record like a little episode here of just me talking. And I was really thinking to myself, like, why I'm even doing this anymore, because it takes up so much of my time, and I can't even justify doing it every single week. But the thought of breaking the streak is so um, like heart-wrenching. And I guess when I look back at all the different videos I've recorded, I've seen how much this has given me. Um, it's such a beautiful time capsule to go back to any era of my life and see who were the people in my life at that time and what was going on. And the discipline of doing it every Sunday is what keeps it authentic and an accurate snapshot of what's going on in my life at the time. And sometimes it's during these like chaotic, insane, busy weeks where the value of doing this is so much more. So ideally, I'd want to be with someone right now, but it was a little last minute, and I plan to get a lot of more cool ones coming for the rest of this trip and for the rest of the summer. So I think what I'll do right now is kind of reflect on the last couple of weeks and like what's been going on in my life, just so it's something cool to look back at. And I feel like often we forget some of the craziest, most chaotic times of our life. So this will be nice, both for me to look back at, but also to kind of inspire other people. Because I think this last 2 weeks have been such an adventure for me. I was working an online internship from my home in New Jersey for the first half of the summer, and I knew I didn't want to be in Jersey all summer, but I was very comfortable and I was, with my family and having a good time in Jersey. But something inside of me really wanted to venture out, try a new life, live somewhere new. And um, it was hard to get myself to do it and justify it, because then when you have to convince your parents and even convince yourself, it feels like everything you do in life needs to have a reason and a purpose. And trying to justify coming to San Francisco for a month was very hard, because I didn't even have a reason for why I was coming or what I wanted to do with this. But I kind of believe that often in life you don't need a reason for everything, and sometimes you have to just kind of let things happen. And all I knew is somewhere inside of me, an adventure was calling me, and New Jersey wasn't doing it for me. So I ended up finding housing, convincing my parents, and I think I booked my tickets for San Francisco like a week or two before I was supposed to leave. And then but yeah, I've been here for 2 weeks, and I guess these 2 weeks I've been trying to figure out like what I'm even doing here and what my purpose is. And my friend from Oregon I had told him to come down, and he's been sleeping on my floor over here. So um but what I'll say is I've been thinking a lot about the idea of traveling, and I think before the commercialization of traveling, it was really done for the purpose of expanding your mind and seeing more of the world. And often, traveling used to be a form of education, a form of expedition, a way to just see how other people think and how the world works. And often, when you're in the same bubbles and around the same people, you tend to lose sight of the bigger picture of this entire world. And I didn't leave the country, I just went, as far as possible from Jersey within the US. And definitely the energy here is very different. Like I've seen um, a lot of liveliness and energy in New York, but there's something about the people here where I'm pretty sure every single person I've talked to is working on some company. And that's really cool to me, because you get to see where people's heads at, and what the direction of the world is going in. And when I come here, I think about all these conversations I've had with people on podcasts about job market scarcity, AI automation, and although those are really true and valid fears, coming here has made me realize how much opportunity there really is and how many companies are sprouting and blooming. And it's really incredible. And I've met some people who are building some incredible products, who've raised a ton of money, who are doing extremely well. And being around them does something to my own mind, because it makes me realize how far behind I am. And this feeling of being far behind is something I've consistently felt my whole life. Like I always felt like a LARPer, and I still am to this day, because I haven't really built enough success to call myself, someone who, I feel like everything I want in my life, I'm still just a few notches away from really the big outcome or the big breakthrough. But already going to a good school and then putting yourself in this room of people with the most crazy minds and the most insane people, did something to me. And in this last week, I've done more work than I ever have in my life. Like I got this um, workaholic bug where I wake up in the morning, I go right to the cafe and I work from 10 a.m. to midnight every single day. And I'm loving it. And I think it was very stressful about a week ago because I was trying to do like a million things at the same time. Like from most of my work day, I have to work on my internship. So I'm working at this company, this healthcare startup where they're building products for insurance companies. So most of the first half of my day from like 10 to 6 is like work for them. And then I'm trying to build my own product for type 1 diabetes. And then I'm also trying to recruit, applying for jobs and have interviews. And often I've realized that I tend to be someone who functions very well when I have two main work tasks to do. And with recruiting being networking and applying to jobs and preparing for interviews and technical stuff, with building my own product and trying to do my internship, it became very stressful. And it felt like the more I was pedaling, the slower the bike was moving. And I'm often someone who likes to do a million things at once, but I think the system started to crash about a week ago. And it was extremely stressful because not only was I doing all these work things, but I'm also in a new city for the first time and I'm trying to enjoy it and explore. And um, so I really had to step back and think to myself like what my priorities were. And the answer for me was to not start chopping everything off because I've made so many commitments to people, and um, I can't just start slacking off on my internship, and I can't stop working on my product for my other co-founder, and I can't not recruit. So I think I really had to think to myself like what was the biggest priority and making sure that I start my day with that priority every time. And I told myself I would prioritize whatever I genuinely feel passionate about working about. And for some time that was my product. And I think as I was getting job interviews at some incredible my dream companies, it shifted more toward recruiting as well. But I think time really fills the window you give it. Often when people want to pick up a new hobby or a new activity, I believe that they often use time as an excuse. But I think that when you have, things in your schedule that you have to do, often you're more efficient with the way you spend your time. So for example, if you're very busy with school and you go to the school and you go to the gym and that takes up most of your day, and you want to pick up like you want to start like a new project, you want to work on building a product, or you want to get into trading, or you want to start playing like pickleball, and you look in your calendar and you're like, I wake up at this time, I go to bed at this time, and my day is all full with schoolwork and with gym and then with social life. Like, where does this fit in my schedule? But if you just say, let me just like put it on my calendar, like, I don't know, boxing practice 3 times a week, and it's just there. When you wake up in the morning and you see that on your calendar, you'll actually adjust your day so that it just works. Like, for example, if normally on a Friday you have classes and you go to the gym, then you hang out with friends. Well, if you have boxing practice between 7 and 9, you might be more efficient in the gym, or you might, arrange the time you go to work. And kind of like water in a bottle, like if you pour all the water in a bottle, then it kind of fills up. But if I pour on the table, it all spreads out. So if you only give yourself like one thing to do, it just spreads out and takes up all your time. But if you're gonna put them in separate bottles and bucket them in time, I think you can do a lot. And it's probably not the most efficient thing. I'm sure if I chose like one thing and really went all out, I'd be able to be extremely well at that thing. But I'm one of the types of people that just enjoys doing so many things in life. And I know a lot of people are like me as well that want to do a million things but often feel they're constrained. And I would just urge you to just try to do as much as you can until the system breaks, or until you're literally going insane. But genuinely, you have so much more time than you think. And if you have like 3 things to do today, like 3 different work things to do, you'll think about, whenever you're working on that task, like, how can I be as efficient as possible with the tools I have to be very efficient and good at that thing. And if you have so much to do today, you'll probably spend less time scrolling on your phone. So I'm a big believer in that. And I think this trip has really taught me that, because over this entire week, I've been super locked in. My goals are going great. My product is going great. My interviews are going great. And now my friend came here a few days ago. We're hanging out. We're enjoying the city. But I think it takes a lot of stress out of me when you actually do more, because you realize that you can be a lot more efficient with the way you spend your time and actually achieve all the things you want to do, even if there's a million things you want. But yeah, this is going to be a quick one. This is just my reflection on life at the moment. And tomorrow I have like 3 interviews at some of my dream companies. So I have to go work, but I plan to get plenty of more cool people from the city on this podcast, and we're going to keep going one every single week for the rest of my life is the goal. So we'll keep trying.